In imagining a better future and envisioning the destination for a harmonious and abundant model of civilized society, we have to define what it would look like, compare it to what we have now, and build a system which would enable that vision to come to fruition, as well as the path that would get us there in the quickest and least painful way possible. This is what government was supposed to be doing all along. Instead of robbing the public, waging wars for the control of natural resources, and setting up deceptive systems of perception management to slowly eviscerate the rights of the individual and pit one group of people against another. But here we are, and where we should and need to be going are vastly different realities. In part 1 of this series, I focused on the firewall between the people in society and those who want to simply use us as resources to further their agendas and extract our wealth from us in the process of creating the very prisons we're building with our own apathy and ignorance. That firewall is government, education, and media. They are the three-pronged system that is supposed to protect society from the takeover of subversive elements who want to violate natural law by cheating and committing heinous crimes against humanity on the path to their goals of dominance over the world and all of its resources. And those people and organizations have a plan with which to accomplish those goals. That plan is called Agenda 21, which was officially adopted by over 178 nations in 1992 at the Rio Earth Summit and is now called the Sustainable Development Goals for 2030, which was agreed to in 2015 by those same adopters of Agenda 21. However, without an event that would shut down the entire world at once, they were having a very difficult time in selling their unscientific, oppressive, and illogical plan to the world. So they needed something big. This is why we got the false pandemic of 2020. It was orchestrated to destroy the economic engine to a point that they could finally institute their long-planned solution for humanity. A top-down, command-and-control panopticon society of 24/7 surveillance and a social credit scoring system to keep everyone in line and under complete control of the global government technocracy. Sounds like paradise and oh, so liberating, doesn't it? Let's go back to our graphic from part 1 and look again at the global power structure. What you see above the institutions used by the top-down method of control are descriptions of which resources are controlled by which segments of the power paradigm. So populations are controlled by government, media, and the education system. Resources are controlled by the corporations, and the global financial system is controlled by the central banking cartel. But above that, we see think tanks. There is not much room in that section, but every non-governmental organization and secret society worldwide could go in that section. They ultimately control the entire resource management system: banking, corporations, government, education, media, and the military-industrial complex they use not to keep people's freedom secure, but to impose their will upon anyone and everyone who won't play along with their game of world domination. We can add to that list the recently emerging and perhaps most powerful priest class in the new dark age: Big Pharma and the healthcare mafia. Non-governmental organizations have much more power in the grand scheme of things than most would believe. It is at their meetings, mostly in secret, that plans are devised and the future planned for all of humanity. And without a single second of input from those of us way at the bottom having any say in the outcome whatsoever. The entire system is controlled by unelected and unaccountable technocrats and billionaires. This is a dictatorial and authoritarian model, and yes, it is our current reality, as well as the future into which they plan to force all of us they allow to let live. Think communism on a global scale. That is where we are now, and all heading towards an even more draconian model if we don't take the necessary action to create an alternate path and reject the one on which we're being forced against our will. The people in these NGOs are the real power in this world. They are almost completely unaccountable to the people on whom they impose their will. Not that our governments have been accountable to the people for decades either, but at least there is the illusion that we somehow have a voice in what is done to us. It's called democracy. And it's yet another failed institution that is designed to give you the idea that there are real choices and that they are looking out for your best interests. Why do you think the media is constantly pushing the threat to democracy on the public so hard? It's because it's the perfect smokescreen to make you believe you have power. If you actually had power, you wouldn't be offered the illusion at all. That's the game. There is no choice, and they only have the interests of themselves and those they serve further up the pyramid in mind when they tell you that they care about you and make promises they never intend to keep. We are just pawns on their grand chessboard and resources to be used for their benefit. That is exactly how they view us. In 2009, David Rothkopf published a book titled Superclass: The Global Power Elite and the World They Are Making. He is an elitist with many ties to the deep state, a member of the Council on Foreign Relations, a past managing director of Kissinger Associates, and a former official in the Clinton administration, so he's clearly an apologist for the criminal ruling class. He also just published a book in which he calls Donald Trump a traitor to America, so you clearly know he's in the deep state's pocket, if not a full-on operative himself. However, it was in his assessment that roughly 8,000 people control the entire world, and they are all connected above the World Resource Control tier on the pyramid. That said, it is clear that once united under a single cause of human freedom and emancipation from this system, we clearly have the power in sheer numbers alone to overwhelm their influence on the global stage. If we could stop chasing unicorns and rainbows and focus on the solutions instead of being hooked on the hopium, we might just have a chance to change our meticulously planned future. We outnumber them by a fact of hundreds of thousands to one. Their greatest fear is the day that we discover this, and why they work so hard to keep our consciousness suppressed and living in fear. It's all a game and all an illusion. The day we all stand up as one and begin to work as a unified force for the emancipation of the human race is the day the New World Order begins to wither on the vine to its ultimate demise. And again, as I clearly stated in part 1 of this series, no violence at all is needed. All we need to do is educate ourselves, change our minds, and work together to build a new paradigm and societal management system. Their system will die of sheer necessity and obsolescence. So what exactly would that system look like? It's something I've been thinking deeply about and designing for over a decade now. The best way to do this is to use teleology, or the study of things with a view to their aims, purposes, or intentions. The word is derived from telos, a term Aristotle used to refer to the full potential or inherent purpose of a person or thing. Thus, what is the purpose of government, and more importantly, should we even be using that word anyway to describe an effective societal management system? But more on that later. What the Founding Fathers of America believed was the purpose of government was clearly spelled out in the Declaration of Independence that founded the American Republic on July 4th, 1776. It reads, "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed." And that's it. That's the extent to which governments are created, to secure the unalienable rights of men, and that their only powers are derived from those same men who created it. Now ask yourself, is that how things operate today? Or has government become a complete perversion of its telos? Does government today resemble anything that our founding fathers envisioned to protect the rights of men? It seems to me and millions of others around the world that government has instead become the number one threat against the rights of men. And a closer look at what it has become will make it clear to anyone and everyone with the ability to think critically at all that government has become the very enemy towards which the Declaration of Independence was aimed and from which personal independence was declared. The text continues from where we left off above. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its powers in such form as to them shall seem most likely to affect their safety and happiness. After generations of government becoming destructive of their ends to simply protect or secure the inalienable rights of the American people, is it not time to alter or abolish it? And with the amount of corruption that pervades through every single sector of government institution, from the very top to the local code enforcers, and the almost completely broken justice system that seeks plea deals for almost everything and suppresses jury trials because it adds billions in profits to their prison industrial complex masters, altering government has become virtually impossible. Like a cancer in the body, it has grown defenses to protect itself from being attacked by the body politics immune system of petition, redress, reform, debate, or any attempt to right the grievances of the people. It has become a parasite on the host of the nation, and those in government now completely ignore the pleas of the people they supposedly serve. Government is a cancer on the people, not the health of the republic. On the contrary, as Randolph Bourne wrote in The State in 1918, war is the health of the state. And the state has become the disease of the society because everything the state does is based on a war model of attacking outside enemies to protect people from imminent danger. But what if they were the ones, the great leaders of the almighty state, who were the real imminent danger of the public? Why is everything they do based on a war model? Healthcare? War model of cut, slash, poison, and burn, instead of finding the source of imbalance and restoring homeostasis. The war on cancer, the war on poverty, the war on hate speech, the war on terror. Everything is a war model because it feeds the insatiable corporatocracy and fascist model. Is it not time to do as our founders instructed us to do, to abolish and replace it? The Declaration of Independence continues. But when a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. How much longer must we suffer the long train of abuses and usurpations? Was 2020 not enough to prove to the entire nation and world that it is more than past time for humanity to unite and finally put an end to this insanity we call government and statism? How much more abuse will you take? Or are you just too lazy to do anything about it? Are you waiting around for someone else to fix all of your problems because that's what a lifetime of statism has indoctrinated you to believe how things happen? Or is it Hollywood and their fairy tale happy endings that have you convinced that this nightmare is almost over? If you only submit to just one more demand and one more encroachment on your liberty, then you'll finally be free. When will this insanity end? No, the nightmare is not almost over. It has only just begun, and it will only get worse in a communitarian and collectivist Biden administration. If you don't know the plans or agenda, it is time to begin to educate yourself. The window of opportunity is rapidly closing for humanity to unite and create a system that will make the current one obsolete. That is the only option. It can be done, but it will require the individual effort of tens of millions in each nation around the world to manifest this new reality based in common sense and natural law. So let me ask you this. Do you not want a better world and future for yourself and your children? Do you know what's coming next if you don't push back, peacefully resist, and begin the work to create something to replace the system of oppression infesting the entire world? Noncompliance is the message we need to send to all those who claim power over us. Working towards building a new system on a daily basis needs to become the new hot social media topic. Nothing else at this point in history is more important than this movement to create a new societal management system. And humanity needs to focus on this single goal as the overriding priority in all of our lives if we ever hope to overcome the incredible power the criminal class has over the consciousness of the world through their iron grip control of the media and the official narrative they pump out on a non-stop daily basis. It must be rejected completely to free ourselves from tyranny.